Good afternoon. Welcome to EXP's Commercial Advisor Spotlight. Usually we're talking to somebody whose focus is on a particular product category. Today's special guest is one of the biggest we have at EXP. We have Mr. Paul Frank, who's not only the production master with 34 million in sales, he's also the attraction master. So we're going to sit down with Paul. We're going to ask him a few questions about how he did it in the hopes that he can help you do it yourself. Good afternoon, Paul. How are you doing?
Wonderful. Great to see you guys.
Well, Lindy McNeese, our Director of Commercial Growth, has joined me today. I'm going to kick it off with the first question. What brought you to EXP? What was your path to this company?
That's an interesting question and a long path. I was actually first approached about 7-8 years ago about EXP. And for a period of 5 years, I told everybody that brought it to me, I am the last person on the planet that's going to buy into this. You're better off spending your time with somebody else. So I had my own brokerage for about 35 years with my initials attached to it. And the idea of working for somebody else, working for another company was just not something that I had ever entertained. And I was also, our foundation was development, commercial development, also with the same PDF name to it. So the idea of losing that was just not something that I even considered for a second for 5+ years.
Paul, I think that in knowing that you've been in this industry for 4 decades, first of all, you don't look old enough to have been doing that. So great, clean living you're doing. But number two, so before, when you were able to do deals internationally and across state lines, you were having to pay a fee, correct, to somebody else to help clear the deal, run the deal through them in another state. Talk about that change of what has happened since joining EXP Commercial with our ability to do portability.
Yeah, the move that I made, which is coming up on 3 years now, has really opened the door to collaboration and working with people throughout the United States and beyond. And it's something that I had often had to try to navigate on my own and kind of create as we went along on different development and brokerage projects. And now through this platform, I just have unlimited resources for capable people throughout the United States.
You're also a mentor and do coaching on your own. Does that interfere with your production? What's your focus in coaching?
Yeah, it's interesting because aside from my professional experience, I've been an athlete and a coach most of my life. I coached 25+ years at the youth, high school, and collegiate level. So it's in my DNA to help people. As you mentioned, I have mentees throughout the United States that I help grow their businesses, learn about commercial real estate. And it's something that I've always been passionate about in helping people, but have never had this opportunity with this platform to have this kind of reach throughout the entire country.
And Paul, you haven't been with us for very long. Like you said, it's just been a few years. You've already iconed 2 times. That is incredible. Basically, your brokerage is paying you to be here, is almost what that is like. So talk to people about what that means and what it is that you have to do to become an icon advisor with us.
Yeah, it was interesting because when the platform was presented to me with a $20,000 cap, that was initially one of the major hurdles. Why would I give anybody 20,000? Because I'm 100% of everything, and I was 100% wrong is what I was, because you train yourself mentally to think you're 100%. That 20,000 cap, as you said, when you become an icon, which I believe is 500,000 in GCI, essentially you get that back. I do speaking and teaching and other things, and I get stock in the company as well. So the $20,000 hurdle that I had actually doesn't even exist, at least for me.
So you've sold millions of square feet of commercial property. You work multiple product categories. Are you developing a team? Do you have a team of people? How do you pull this off? Do you do it yourself? Do you do it with others?
Yeah, I have a core team locally. And as I said, I mentee people all over the country, and also within California, which is where I live. I'm licensed in multiple other states as well. But before EXP, I was restricted to those in my office, in my physical space. And since this move, coming up on 3 years at the end of the year, I've been able to expand without boundaries, without those limitations. And the beautiful thing from just a liability and sleepless night standpoint was that these teams that I have, these agents that I have, are no longer under my license. They are managed by the EXP umbrella, even though we're running under a team concept. And to the outside world, we still look exactly the same with the little appendage of powered by EXP commercial. So from the outside client perspective and other brokerages, nothing has changed in our services. It's just a platform that allows us to grow as well as better serve our clients.
If you could give advice to anyone who's potentially on the fence about getting into commercial real estate, what advice would you give them?
Getting into commercial real estate that's a tricky question. It is a difficult space to gain traction and momentum in. In residential real estate, like I tell people, you see people that come out of entertainment or just have a pretty smile and a great Instagram, and they can go from 0 to 60 in a year and be phenomenally successful. You generally don't see that in the commercial space. It takes a lot of time and effort to gain that momentum and traction, where people are going to trust you with their income producing assets. So the trick is to figure out how to circumvent that process of gaining that traction, gaining that momentum. And that is usually through teaming up with somebody that has that in place, that you can leverage their experience and their successes in the business to help you propel your career.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of teams. They come complete with their own mentor. They come with their own accountability. And if you could give one tip to a newer agent, would you recommend join a team? Learn this. This is a team sport. This is not a learn by yourself kind of environment.
Absolutely. And I have case studies across the country with agents that have come in as mentees that wanted, they were young, aggressive, excited, wanted to create their own brand. And they would go out into the marketplace and do what they were told with cold calling. But the reality is that they were showing up and having phone calls with the same people that Marcus and Millichap, CBRE, Cushman were having. And there wasn't anything special about their narrative. That's where being able to leverage team or even an individual that you team up with, their successes and their achievements in the business is just imperative. And as I said, multiple people that didn't listen to me initially ended up coming back around and realizing that the hurdles to gaining that traction are pretty overwhelming to do it on your own.
And speaking about brands, so clearly 40 years in the industry, PDF is something that a lot of people know. You've branded yourself, they look for that. At EXP, we allow you to continue to brand yourself the way that you are seen out in the world. How important is that to you? And should that be to all other advisors that join EXP Commercial?
Yeah, it's for me personally, I would not be here if that wasn't an option. I had been recruited by the globals for decades. Other commercial franchises had approached me about acquisition and teaming up or buying. And in all of those cases, I had to lose my brand for what it's worth. And again, we have the development side and the brokerage side. So it just wasn't something that I was interested in at all in giving up and starting over. I think it's an incredible tool to be able to use for people. The EXP commercial brand itself is tremendous in the marketplace, gaining traction, and is nothing to scoff at or not use independently. But being able to create your own brand can really be a separator in the marketplace, in commercial specifically.
Unbelievably, I have many advisors and agents that sign up at EXP every month that do not have a sponsor. They have no sponsor selected on their independent contractor agreement. How important is it to have a sponsor? In my view, it gives you the family, it gives you the flashlight in the dark. It's something that you should. I believe it's almost as important, as the product category you're going to pick or the type of business you're going to do. What do you think about that?
It is very, to say it's very important would be an understatement. Through the onboarding process and just getting acclimated to the system and the tools and everything, inevitably having somebody by your side, having a sponsor, makes that transition just incredibly smoother. We have, especially through Brent Gove's team, we have some excellent onboarding assistants and Sophia and others that make that process much cleaner, much easier. And then to have a sponsor that has already ridden the horse and figured out how to navigate it, it just saves an incredible amount of time in doing that.
I just want to reiterate that if you're thinking of joining EXP commercial or EXP period, it would be very much worth your time to sit down with Mr. Paul Frank at EXP commercial and ask him his opinions. And you failed forward, not so much lately, but you've already done it. You have the cheat codes. I implore everybody out there to talk to Mr. Frank so you can get the cheat codes before you start. I want to wind this up. I want to thank you, Paul. I want to thank Lindy McNeese, my director of commercial growth. And I want to leave with one thing. Tell us the one piece of advice you would give to any agent joining EXP.
Vicarious learning is the least expensive, and it's sticky because you learn from other successes and mistakes. And I would say to those that are watching this, that learn from my mistakes. I consider the 5 years that I said heck no to be one of the biggest mistakes that I ever made in my career. And the best decision I ever made was to make this move over here. And for me to be saying that out loud is phenomenal. It's hard to explain. So if it worked for me, I guarantee you, whoever has reasons why they should not, I have considered them, I have lived them, and I was absolutely wrong.
Thank you for your time, sir, and we look forward to seeing you at EXPCon.
Appreciate it. Thank you.